or will we making it? It's just, it's not right. Make it again. We have so many more renditions, even on the prototype parts, and some of them are already for sale, but that we're going to keep tweaking them.
Right.
We're not done with round one.
Right.
We're going to keep trying to make it better. And also, dude, the fact is, like, failing forward is like the biggest thing in my life. It's I'm never going to let, like, when something goes south or doesn't work out, I'm not going to just like, all right, I'm over it. Imagine if whoever, there's argument who did the light bulb, but at the end of the day, whoever did it, it took them thousands of renditions, dude, to finally get that light bulb to work. And if they had just given up on round 3, dude, we wouldn't have lights today. You know what I mean?
Do you ever find yourself, like, you got this good idea and you're putting all this work in, this is it, and then you get done with it and you're like, oh, fuck, this sucks.
Fully.
But you're like, oh, I was focusing way too much energy on making this part of it cool when I should have been over here.
Yeah, and not even just in that, but in the fact of, like, we're trying to make a product, and what we got to learn is not every product's gonna be a good one to take all the way to the home stretch, dude. Like, we learned how to feel like, man, I put a lot of energy into this thing, dude. It is what, like you said, it's not what we expected. I don't think people are that into it, and you're like, shit. So we're learning as we go, like, and hopefully we'll get better and more seasoned at it. We're like, no, this is a banger. It's gonna be great. People are gonna want to use it. Or we make something that, like, by the time we're done, I'm like, this is just too expensive. No one's gonna want to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool, but for us to run the calcs of what that thing has to sell for, so that we can get it with distributors and all that stuff, like, there's a science to that, man. And, like, we've clearly learned that the hard way with some stuff. I've got parts that, like, I've had to just put them on the bikes and make sure they found a home and go, and, like, we won't make them again. You know,
Right.
it's heartbreaking, but
No,
it's not discouraging, but it's also cool to just, like, that shit, that's where you grow, dude. That's just as good as making a banger.
Yeah, and sometimes I think you learn more from what not to do sometimes than you learn what to do, right?
1000%, dude. That's like, when you meet the old timers, I love them so much because they're so much more laid back. Guys have been doing it forever. You know, like, first off, like, we ain't going to the moon. It's just a chopper. Calm down, right? It ain't curing cancer. Like,
Right.
dude, it's just a chopper. So I went from days I really had to prove myself. I had to make these crazy ornate parts, and that's cool, and that's got its place. But, man, I just want to build runners. And sometimes that's keep it simple, stupid. Like, there's all those cliche ass sayings because they have a place, and those come from guys with a lot of experience. And, like, when you see guys, like I said, I got 25 years experience, and that experience is doing it wrong. Like, that's just from trial and error,
Right,
dude.
right.
Like, those cats that cut their teeth, and nowadays, like, we're set, dude. And they say, dude, there's libraries of books, and now we got YouTube University. They're gonna tell you, like, dude, we can save a lot of time and, like, pain by just, like, doing some research on the back end by doing it, learning.
And for me, that's the most fun.
To keep that early chopper aesthetic and start meeting with performance. And I wasn't really a performance guy, but I'm definitely growing into a reliable thing. And these things have plenty of power. Like, how fast you need to go. Something that doesn't always have a front brake on it. And because braking power is huge. There's a reason street bikes and those things, like, crazy power, crazy good braking, dude.
Yeah. And I think if you're not trying new stuff, what's it going to hurt?
Yeah.
Like, somebody's going to hurt my feelings and tell me, like, oh,
Yeah.
you're not legit.
And I think, too, like, for us, clearly it's just a huge form of art, right? Like, and all of it is, right? Yeah, and, like, what I love the most, as far as this being, like, an art form, and really learning that, like, everything's an art form. Life's an art form. Like, people will be like, I'm not that creative. My bike's all basic. No, dude, like, that is you. And don't get it fooled with the crazy born free builder guys. Dude, yeah, clearly they're on a whole nother level and whatever. Like, we're at our stage, and wherever you're at in that, like, it's still creativity. Like, we're all, and that's what's so cool with Harley and a lot of bikes is, like, everybody personalizes. It's your form of art, right? And, like, and choppers in general are, like, lean way further into the artistic end of things, which inherently will pull a lot away from the reliability and the performance end of it, because you're doing form over function. And that's, I said, was our deal is, can we meet the two somewhere find some balance with art and
Right. It's
performance.
kind of like being a musician. Of
Yep.
course, I would love to play guitar like Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
But I also like to play guitar poorly, half in the bag after drinking whiskey by the
Yeah.
campfire.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I'm not having
Just as fun.
putting as much fun.
Fully.
And,
Fully.
and I think it's all open for interpretation.
Fully, dude. And that the guy Rick Rubin, it was like one of the lines, and it was the coolest thing I ever heard. He was like, "So, did you create a route to get to work because you wanted to get there a little bit quicker?" He's like, "That's art." And he was like to the core, like life is art, the whole thing's art. And that was so cool because everybody tries to say, "I'm not creative and I'm not this." It's how'd you build your PB&J, dude? I'm sure you slathered it on a certain way, right? It's all art. Life is art. We're all just
Yeah.
being creative on every level.
Right.
And I think a lot of people through, especially social media, seeing people at these wild levels, you're just like, I suck. It's no, dude. Just we have this internet thing and this thing where we can see all this polished stuff. Like, that's not reality. Like most of us are rookies and learning and beginners and all that. And even the guys that are the best. That's what I love with old timers. Like I was saying earlier, those guys are the first ones to be like, I don't know, like you can do it this way or you can do it this way. We're like some dudes are stuck. No, man, has to be like this. It's like, oh, dude, you're stuck on like that's. I'm so happy I'm not there. I'm like super flexible. I'm like I don't know. Like I think people trip on them because they try to like they think I'm gonna give more like solid info, and I'm like a lot of times like, I don't know, like about this or this. I'm like I don't know, try that, and then that is where you do this. Like it's all just trial and error, and like and it's you, dude. Figure out what you want to do. Don't listen to me, dude. I might be able to help you with a couple of connecting dots. And that was with fabrication, which I loved and learned. Was like I get to play God in it, dude. Clearly, I have point A, B, and C that are like hard set, but in between, I can do me.
Yeah.
And that was how I started looking, and I love that too, because even when you're making something custom, especially with products, and there's a whole rule set within there that's super fun to go by, but at the end of the day, it's like bikes will build themselves or your part will build itself, because once you, and people get stuck on like, I gotta create it first. Like you don't, it's process elimination, dude. Like just know that you've got to go there. So make something at that point, and then I'm gonna make this at this point. These are how I can make my connectings, and I do this, and then well, I can run this bar like that, and I'll make a plate here and whatever. And just start like free flowing and like going for it. Like the biggest thing between you and finishing your thing is doing it.
Yeah.
So just start doing it. It'll answers will come as you go.
It's like taking a ride on your bike.
Yeah.
That's you don't know. This is the route I had planned.
Yeah.
I don't know the shit, but that's what makes it fun.
And even then, what's the first step? Just go put your shoes on, put your helmet on, fire it up,
get some gas.
get some gas, just start going, dude. The trail will create itself.
We used to play a game called it was a coin flip, and once we got a general idea, like I said, I lived in Tahoe and I've run all through the foothill. I'm pretty on a dirt bike. I know where to go, but a lot of times we'd play a game. I like stop sign, and we had a challenge coin, so we'd flip it heads or tails. Heads we go left, tails we go.
Sick.
Dude, we got so fucking.
It was like
awesome.
that book. It's like pick A, B, or C.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you end up now go to page 263.
Yeah, choose your own adventure. That's what
Choose your own adventure. Dude, that's wild. That's so sick, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna have to play that game, dude.
that is. Yeah.
I'm down.
You got to get where it's you don't know where you're at. You know where you're at, but you don't. You have an idea. Like I think that takes us this way.
Yeah.
I think that might take us this way.
And dude, that was one of the biggest things when we would ride. Like we had to meet some people in Fresno, right? We were starting in Sacramento, we knew Fresno, and we left a day early because it took us 10 hours to get to Fresno. It was like 10 hours. Yeah, we didn't see the freeway. Like we backroaded the whole way there, and dude, we got to see towns and shit that we'd never get to see. Like there's sometimes like freeways have their place. Right? You gotta blast them, but man, if you can carve out the time on rides where you can take back roads and hit the side shit, man, like the stuff you get to see is crazy.
And those are the type where you go and you grab a sandwich and you go sit next to the old guy in the park bench in the town square. And you just say hi.
Yeah.
And he tells you some crazy fucking
Yeah, and
story.
they're dying for some, because they're
Yeah,
like,
right.
I know every single person in this town. Like, you come in and you open up, and they're going to tell you some wild shit. And they're going to give you, like, the backstory on this place and what was here and how it started, whatever. dude, that's the journey. And I have this really cool painting. You'll have to take a little panel on it. But like, it was supposed to be too. It's how I met my fiance. Like, I hired this painting. I knew I had to have her inside the shop because it was really big, and it's Doug's chick, and it worked out. Thankfully, my plan worked, right? But it's supposed to be the journey and the destination. I was like, I want these two pieces. I get deep and shit, right? But we never got to the destination. We only made the journey painting, and once I realized, I was like, that's all we had to do. 'Cause there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to be. Like, it's all about the journey. That's all life is. Until it's lights out. And the more that we go into the unknown is so important, man. That's the coolest thing with this. I've never created a brand. I've never had a parts line. I've never been a real employer. Like, I've done all that shit, dude. So like, for us, like, even my guys, which are cool, that they understand, and I'm like, hey, I don't have all the answers. Like, we have to come up with them together. Like, I lean into them so much, and they don't be like, oh man, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, right? Like, I have an idea, and I'm gonna do my best for us. But at the end of the day, it's us. Like, basically, this is like a little startup, and I'm like, it's up to us to get us to these places of the unknown.
And I think I understand where you're coming from, and I think what really defines your character is how you said we and us, and I get it. On the ride, I was like, okay, I wanted to go see Neptune's Neck. I was like, I guess it was a little bit lamer than I thought. Oh shit! And we rode all the way down through Long Beach and Venice and all this. I was like, oh my god, this is so. Why did I do this? And I'm like apologizing to the guys. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm something like, dude, like, we didn't know the difference. You know what I mean? But
I know, right? You didn't even out yourself, bro.
Whatever, you know. But the fact that you got to look at it as a team. You are only as successful as the men that you got working for, or the people you got working for. And I don't know, it just shows a big testament to your character. That's what you say, and that's what you think. And because you wouldn't be able to do what it is without them. And so it's a team. You just happen to be the skipper of the ship.
That's it, dude. I just was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. I'll take the heat. I'll take the big hits, like, for my people. And I'll share something with you. It's pretty personal. Like, me and the chick, like, we decided not to have kids, and we're just going to be dog parents. And I saw that, like, man, where am I going to get that fathering type thing?
Dude,
and it was trippy.
I'm right on the same page.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, you know what, dude? Like, I'm going to create employment. And I'll be honest, I have a mentor, dude, and he was the one that really sparked that interest in me. And once I was like, oh, I can provide something for others. And once again, have your cake and eat it too, dude. Like, I was just a dragon hoarding my treasures on my property. I wasn't sharing with anybody. It got dull and lame. And then I was like, and the challenges that come with being an employer and trying to play the game. We're in California. It's tough. But you know what? Like, we're staying, dude. We love Grass Valley. Like, I ain't going nowhere, dude. This is where it's at. All that stuff. Here's another cliche saying, right? It's, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
100%.
And you probably heard it. That's my dude. That's what gets me all frazzled up. And I'm like, but when I heard that, I went, sick. I was already on the journey. And I was watching some motivational thing because I'm really into that stuff. But I look at that too, and that's big. When I'm on YouTube, man, like, I'm watching entrepreneurs, people that are pushing it, that are going for it, because I don't have those guys right next to me. Like, I hang out with them on YouTube, which cats that want to hang out with me in Chopper Land, like, it's hard to get to me, but you can kick it here. We'll talk choppers, come to the shop, hang out, and and that's the vibe we're trying to get. And as you and I grow in our journey of doing these videos together and stuff, and that's the thing. I want to bring people in. Maybe not always physically, because we got to stay busy, but I do want to share this with the masses. Give it to the cats that they don't have shops. They didn't have chopper dads, chopper uncles, all that stuff. So, like, they got to get it here, and that's what we want to provide, because and the more that we focus on you guys, like, the better we do, dude. Like, it's like a weird chopper tithing.
And I can speak on this because I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. I love choppers, and the experience I had meeting you, just talking to everybody else, and just the positivity there was like, you know what's the coolest part about all of this is you're fucking doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody different that I talked to, there's 4 or 5 reoccurring themes.
Yeah.
Ask everybody what their favorite bike is. Fuck, I don't know, whatever, what I'm riding right now, right? What was your favorite ride? Fuck, I don't know. You know what I mean? It was more about the spirit. It's more about riding with my friends, the fact that I'm on this bike. I like this one for this. This was cool. Advice for somebody that wants to get into building or into riding or whatever. And it was all the same things. As a bike doesn't matter. The road doesn't matter. Don't be a pussy and do it with your friends.
Yeah.
And the more, and my buddy Chris said something really cool because we were talking about skateboarders and choppers and that sort of stuff. If you got a skateboard, you got a friend. If you got a motorcycle, you got a friend.
Fully.
You know what I mean? And so that really resonated. Just like we talked how nervous and scared I was, but just like you said, you recognize, you're like, I'm scared. I'm scared too. All right, cool. Let's hang out.
I was hella freaked out, dude. And then you meet everybody and you're like, oh, they're just normal people. I get it. Dude, I got social anxiety through the roof. Nobody would ever know that. But I do it through humor and crazy behavior is how I that's my coping mechanism. Because deep down I'm a fucking scared little kid in this big wild world. And I'm like, you guys are cool and I'm a kook. Like that's just what's up. You know what I mean?